Okay, now if you speak, you'll be in the recording. Let's talk about the beginning of this novel so far. And for everyone who has bad short-term memory, which is a lot of you, let's bring us up to speed with where we are today. And then that way, if you missed some of the chapters, if you were absent and didn't do makeup work, you can kind of feel where we are. I'm going to go fast because I'm just telling you a story of what you've already read. For every chapter, I'm grabbing keywords. And then when I go to write my summary, I use the keywords. So just pay attention to the words that are bolded that I thought were important from that chapter. They do come directly from the text, like the word grab you do today. The book starts in chapter 1 with 15 years in the future. A man looks back at his childhood, his time at the Devon school. It's November. It's cold. It's rainy. The campus is lifeless, defensive, like a bad scene in a movie. When the narrator, looks back at the summer at the school, he feels fear and joy, but hopes he escaped the fear. The campus is described like a museum with marble stairs, and there's ghosts in the hallways, like ghosts of his childhood. There's this tree that his best friend Finney wants to attempt to jump out of, because the seniors do it. Jean and Finney are 16. Even though Jean thinks it's stupid, he jumps. Finney has a hold on him, and they compare to jumping out of that tree like soldiers, getting ready to go to war. Like this rite of passage, let's do this crazy thing, because pretty soon we might be doing crazy things for real in real life. Chapter 2. Finney is a person who likes to challenge the rules, not because he's a jerk, but because he has fun with it. Finney finds that he gets out of a lot of trouble because he can talk himself out of it. The teachers that summer school teachers, tolerate the boys' bad behavior. They tolerate what they do because they have pity on them, because they might be going to war soon. Finney reminds them, the teachers, of peace, all the things that I'm not, young, careless, wild, as well. But Finney represents being young, being free. There's that scene where Finney wears his school tie as a belt, and then the professors see he doesn't even get in trouble. And then Jean starts feeling some negative thoughts. Envy, that Finney is so charming, can get out of trouble and talk to anyone. Then Jean says, well, it's a compliment that he's my friend. They go to jump out of the tree. At the end of chapter 2, Jean almost falls off the limb and Finney steps in to balance him. So if you didn't remember that, we know Jean pushed Finney out of this tree, but right in the end of chapter 2, Finney balances him. Is doing what Jean failed to do as well. Chapter 3 was a fast chapter. Jean doesn't feel thankful that Finney saved his life. He blames him. You put me in the tree. The secret society of the summer session, the super secret, no. Can you do it? The
super secret summer society
of the summer session. Okay, thanks. This club meets every day. Jean can't believe that he keeps jumping out of the tree. Jean's mind is described like a straitjacket, like his mind just keeps control of him. Finney loves sports. They create a game called Blitzball. Finney has energy. His personality shines. They talk a little bit about the war as being a moment that Jean is always looking back on. Adults intimidated by teenagers because teenagers have the power to fight for them in the war. Pleasure is considered unpatriotic. You got to do your duty. Finney, and maybe that's why, that when Finney breaks a school swimming record, he doesn't want any credit. He doesn't want anyone to know. He just did it for himself. He's not a bragger. Finney destroyed Jean's plans to study because he gets him to bicycle to the ocean. Right? They go to the ocean. They ride their bikes the 6 miles to the ocean. They swim, the waves dominate Jean. He gets sucked under. You guys might remember that from your symbolism assignment. But Finney loves it there. As they fall asleep on the dunes, Finney says, "You're my best friend." And Jean says, that's what Jean says. Nothing. The beginning, and we're only in chapter 6. So the beginning of chapter 4, it's morning, and they're at the ocean. They've used references to death. Lazarus, you talking about Finney looking like he's dead. Jean goes back to school and flunks his test. And then we find out Jean wants to get good grades. He wants to be a valedictorian. This is when Jean's head explodes. In chapter 4, they could have waited. But in chapter 4, Jean says, This guy is not my friend. He's competing with me. He really wants to make me look bad and feel bad, and he wants to take me down. Gene decides Finney's jealous of him and wants to be even with him, and that Finney's been making him fail purposefully. This breaks Gene's heart. It breaks his brain. Devastation, misery, hatred are all things that he feels, and then he feels all alone, like he can't trust anybody. There's no one in the world for him. Gene decides he's going to buckle down, get really good grades. He forgets sometimes that he's a rival with Finney, but he says he can't trust him. Finney sucks at tests. He gets bad grades, C's if he's lucky. The summer goes on. Finney keeps interrupting Gene's studying. This time they have an argument. And Finney's like, you can study, man. It's cool. Gene decides to go ahead and go to the tree. He thinks he'll never be the same quality as Finney. They're up in the tree. Gene jounces and shakes that limb. Finney looks at him like, what happens? What are you doing? And then falls and hits the ground with a thud. For flex work, you can do your own grab for chapter 5. Here's my summary. Finney's leg is broken. Shattered, actually. Gene spends time alone. The doctor wants Gene to see Finney. Gene almost admits what he's done. A month later, after summer break, Gene drops in to visit Finney, tells him, I did it. I did it on purpose. I pushed out of this tree. And Finney is like, well, other than the swear words, he's like, no, you didn't. You didn't. You didn't. You didn't. You didn't. Hashtag you didn't. And then Gene's like, maybe I didn't. I'm sorry. I think that's funny, but it's horrible as well. And that puts us to where your assignment was with Mrs. Hirsch, which was the beginning of chapter 6. The only thing I need to know, let me hit stop on this. Let's see how long it will. Stop it.